Right now, right now. 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 Oh, I got a real good feeling.
We try to bring you high-quality educational and informational content every single day. Why do you think the price is having such an anemic time? The news story of the hour. Jump onto the chart. Is this the beginning of a massive financial unraveling? We got to add a little addendum to the show map today. So we start here on the daily. Now, we've been looking at the RSI on Bitcoin's daily chart for the last several days. Well, what's happening? It's been increasing over the last 50 years since the government has been getting bigger. Hey guys, what's going on? Jebb here, and welcome back to Coffee and Crypto Live. This is your weekdaily morning show where we bring you the latest in Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, technical, on-chain, and fundamental analysis. And in today's episode, we are going to be talking about Bitcoin because, as you guys know, we have been watching for the last week or so the total cryptocurrency market capitalization chart, that would be the full title, over on Tradingview approach and actually just barely surpass $1 trillion. So the level that we're looking at is really about $1,014 billion to $1,024 billion over on that chart on Tradingview. Many of you guys may be looking at CoinMarketCap and saying, but Jebb, Bitcoin's already at $1,053 billion over there. Yes, but those are two different charts and they actually have two different numbers. What we are looking for right now is a break on the total chart, TOTAL. You type that into TradingView, hit the subcategory for crypto, and the chart will come up. We're looking for total cryptocurrency market capitalization to break $1,014 billion and get concretely above it. So we're talking maybe up to about $1,050 to $60 billion to confirm a breakout, and then we could see a 30% rally coming to Bitcoin and crypto. But until that happens, either because Bitcoin rallies another $500 or because Ethereum rallies another $200 or $300 or because the altcoins start going on a tear or people just start loading up in stablecoins, whatever the case may be, whatever will end up driving us above $1 trillion, whether it's today, this week, or a year from now, it's going to end up being a major, major rally coming to crypto. So we're going to be talking about that potential breakout and more in today's episode of Coffee and Crypto Live. Thank you guys for joining me. We are running a little bit late. Guys, expect a little bit of disruption to the regular schedule just because we're getting ready for our daughter to come into the world and we've got a lot of stuff to do, setting up her room, setting up, just purchasing things. We've already got a bunch of stuff. I think we're doing pretty well on that front, but of course we're bringing a new human being into the world here in about 8 weeks, 9 weeks, hopefully 8-9 weeks. We're hoping that she'll come at term and not early. So we've got a lot of work to do to get everything set up the way we want there. So apologies for a little bit of the disruption on the time of the stream the last little bit. We've just got quite a bit going on that front. Let's go ahead and read chat. We got Chris Mo in chat. He said, hi, first? Yes, you were first. Hello. Congratulations to you, Chris Mo, for being the first in stream. We got Crypto Mini Bike in chat as well. Said, good morning. What's up, my friend? We got Crypto Ben Franklin in chat. Said, good morning, everyone. Hello. Good morning, Crypto Ben Franklin. And by the way, guys, we're going to run to the top of the hour today. We're going to run till 11. We should be back at our regularly scheduled time at 10 a.m. tomorrow. Justin Eubanks in chat said, good morning, Crypto Jebb. Good morning, Justin Eubanks. We got Flavio Goncalves in chat. Hello, Flavio. I do believe I'm pronouncing that name correctly. You can definitely correct me if I am wrong. We got Queen in chat, Oh My in chat, Freedom Advocate in chat. I'm never late. I arrive precisely when I mean to. Oh, there you go. Yes, that's kind of what happened here. We're running a little bit late, but I managed to get it on exactly the half-hour mark, so it looked like that was planned. That's pretty much what it was. We were pretty much planning to go up at 10:30 today. Anyway, Queen said, hashtag FinSoft Sarah. Boom, there you go. Shout out to my beautiful, lovely wife, Sarah, who is carrying our daughter. We'll get to meet her out here in the world here in a couple of months, hopefully. Rockstar Cola Gomez said, good morning, Jebb. Valentine Zaragoza said, how about them Chiefs? There you go. All right. Okay. Kansas City Chiefs. All right. Oh, congratulations, Michelle Sunflower. I assume you're talking about our daughter. So thank you so much. Really appreciate that. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you were looking forward to today's stream, I want you to do a couple of things. Go ahead and hit that like button. Let's see if we can get up to 200 likes. Let's go ahead and hit that subscribe button and the post notification bell so you won't miss a single upload. Really appreciate all of you guys for tuning in. And shout out to Crypto Smitty, who arrived just in the nick of time. Let's go ahead and jump onto our chart. This is the total cryptocurrency market capitalization charts as calculated by Tradingview, and this looks at the entire market of crypto. It basically shows us what all of crypto is trading. And if you'll remember last week, we talked about $1,024 billion being the level to beat, and a big part of the reason for that being the level to beat has to do with the run-up that crypto saw right before FTX completely and totally and utterly and consequentially imploded upon itself. $1,024 billion, depending on, a couple of different factors, about $1,021 billion. That's really the level that the market managed to run to before. $1,024 billion being just a little bit higher. There's a few different marks, a few different areas where it touches there, but really it's about $1,021 billion. That's what total market capitalization ran to right before FTX imploded upon itself. And that essentially tells us that, one, cryptocurrency tried to get above 1 trillion and failed. We got up here into the zone of $1 trillion, but we were not able to actually break through the zone of $1 trillion. And then, of course, FTX imploded upon itself just a few short days later. But that gave us two major levels of resistance, the kind of the vague generic level, and then the more specific level. The vague area, the area, I guess you should say, exactly, the area is $1 trillion. That's the area that the market was trying to break through. But the exact level that crypto actually ran to was $1,021 billion, at least on this chart. Well, the good news is, crypto's actually broken that. We did rally just last night, around 1100 hours, to $1,037 billion. And a lot of that had to do with a rally on Bitcoin up to, drumroll please, boom, 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 boom. That was kind of a lame drumroll. There we go. That's a little better. Up to $24,000. You can see Bitcoin got just within a hair's margin of hitting 24K. And by doing so, Bitcoin set a new local high, and so too did total. Now, a couple of things have happened since then. Number one, that caused Bitcoin and total cryptocurrency market capitalization to rally above that aforementioned level of $1,021 billion. That essentially set the bulls into this area of, we're not exactly sure if we have enough strength to continue rallying, but we're very sure that we've made a lot of money so far, so we're going to go ahead and take our profits. And so you see Bitcoin pull back, finding support around $23,000, and then you find total market capitalization falling back to find support right around $1 trillion. Now, the reason that that's substantial and significant is quite simply, Bitcoin was using $1 trillion as its range. We were ranging sometimes above, sometimes below $1 trillion on total crypto market capitalization charts. As of right now, we've actually rallied far above it, and we're testing it as support. So I hope that makes sense. Before, we were using $1 trillion as a zone that we were trading in. Now, we're using this as the zone upon which we're finding support. You can see if I just draw these two boxes here, how they kind of ladder on top of each other. So long as Bitcoin and total cryptocurrency market cap is able to maintain $1 trillion, which is questionable, but we're talking about the possibilities here. If it does manage to hold above $1 trillion, then the wonderful thing is that we would be able to see $1 trillion established as support, and that's a very strong support level. If crypto is able to maintain above $1 trillion, that is good news, because remember, as you guys know, the Fed is going to be likely coming out in just 2 days, so that'd be Wednesday. Let's just take a look, and you can see Wednesday will be the day that the FOMC comes out and gives a 25% basis point rate hike. In fact, CME is so confident of this now that they've taken the possibility of a 50 basis point rate hike off the table. And now somebody, because this is basically a poll of a bunch of different people that know what's going on with the Fed, now somebody's predicting, no, I don't even think we're going to see a 50 basis point rate hike. Some people are saying they won't even see a rate hike at all. So if we did see that, that would obviously be very bullish for the market. But if we do only see that 25 basis point rate hike, which is pretty much guaranteed at this point, that's going to end up becoming something that people are likely going to FOMO a lot for right now. There's a lot of buy the rumor, sell the news kind of going on right now. A lot of people are very excited, very hyped about the possibility of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency going to the upside on that lower rate hike. But it's not just that. Let's also just do a quick recap, because I've talked about this at length, so I'm not going to keep going over it. But the other thing to keep in mind is that the SPY is currently breaking a downtrending level of resistance that is very, very powerful, both on the log chart and on the linear chart. This is the linear chart. That's the log chart. It's broken in on both of those levels. It's pretty concretely above this level now. You could maybe argue that, okay, well, maybe you could say Bitcoin, the S&P hasn't technically broken it. I would say if you draw this through the line of best fit, which would be likely through that high, and that high, even if you drew it a little bit higher, the SPY is gradually starting to break bullish here as the global economy starts to restabilize itself, with new supply chains being established, with new manufacturing coming online in the United States, with not as much as you would like, but a little bit of new drilling going on in the United States, having to do with the petrochemical industry, with natural gas and oil, having those prices come down. The S&P 500 is stabilizing somewhat. The market is getting more used to this rate environment of 4.5%, which will soon be 4.75%, and then maybe go to 5 and then plateau. So the market's getting more used to that. Bitcoin's getting more used to that. Things are starting to stabilize as far as the global economy is concerned. What we're looking for right now is, can total cryptocurrency market capitalization break above 1 trillion and stay above it? Because it's already broken above it. The question is, can it stay above it? That question, I would say there's a decent likelihood that it could. The only thing I would say is that while it is setting higher highs and higher lows, it is in a rising wedge. Rising wedges typically break bearish 70% of the time. So I'll believe it when I see it. I'll believe it when we've been up here for a month. But if we do see this rate hike coming in, and we see that Bitcoin and crypto both go on a tear and they both rally 15-20%, and we see bullish things to that effect, then great. That's where we can start having some confidence. Really, we're sitting back and kind of waiting and seeing, is Bitcoin, are the cryptocurrency markets, are they going to be able to hold and go into a rally? One thing I will mention is that Cardano has been doing quite well. Cardano is currently trading at 38 cents. It had been in this massive falling wedge for months, in fact, over a year, about a year and a half, and it is now broken bullish above that long-term downtrending level of resistance. And sometime around here, I think sometime last summer, I started telling you guys, look, Cardano's done it before. Cardano could end up dropping 95%. And people were like, wait a second, Jebb, I thought you were an investor in Cardano. I thought you loved Cardano. I thought you've interviewed Charles Hoskinson himself. I thought you really liked Cardano. I do, but here's the thing, and this is just a little bit of a side note on ADA. Let's just find as long of a history of Cardano as we can. Cardano has gone through a 95% retracement before. In fact, a 98.76% retracement before. And then you know what it did? It rallied 16,500%, 18,500%. I'm sorry. I was a little bit underplaying the massive rally that it went through. It rallied $3.18. You talk about Bitcoin, you're like, $3. Yeah, all right. I could make the market move that much, but Cardano was trading at 1.7 cents. It was less valuable on a cent basis than Dogecoin. Then it went through a 93% correction. Cardano is just a wild card of a market, but I think that its bottom may actually be in. I think the bottom at 24 cents was very likely. It is possible that something like what happened before, where it drops 98% and then it rallies and then it drops again, happens. But you know what? Great. Whoop-de-doo. If that happens, hooray, because you get to buy in at a very low level. So that's kind of where Cardano is. There's a chance that Cardano's bottomed out right now. But here's the thing, guys. Bitcoin and crypto have been trying to break and stay above this $1 trillion market capitalization mark for about a week and a half. The longer you sit here and you try and test something, the more difficult it is to say that it's going to actually be broken, because why haven't you broken it already? If that makes sense. We need to see Bitcoin and crypto break above these levels soon, because if we just sit up here, the bulls are going to start running out of strength. If you're playing tug of war, and everybody's pulling and pulling and pulling, and then you reach a stalemate, whoever started pulling first is the faction, either the left or the right, or I don't mean politically, but, in tug of war, whoever's on the left side or the right side, whoever started that tug of war, whoever began the pulling process, they're the ones that are probably going to tire out first, because they're the ones that had to use their strength first. They're the ones that took the initiative first. So it's similar in crypto. When the bulls began this rally, they're the ones that started using up their strength more quickly than the bears did. So if the bears are able to get them into a stalemated position, that is typically a precarious spot to be in. I'm not going to sit here and say that we're not going to break above $24,000 on crypto. I'm not going to sit here and say we're not going to maintain and rally above $1 trillion on total market capitalization. What I am saying is that the bulls, being the ones that led us up here in the first place, do need to catch a breather. And before they were able to make gains, and I'm just playing both sides here, guys. I want you to know that there are two very strong, valid arguments right now. The bulls before were able to increase their highs by $800 in 22 hours, or $2,200 in one day, or by $476 in 4 days. Now we're seeing the market go up by, again, like it said, about $400 in 4 days. or $200 in 3 days. The rate of appreciation of this market has started to plateau, meaning that we are starting to get into that stalemated position where the bulls are really going to have to find some new strength or get someone else on their side to start pulling the market back to the upside, or this news will be enough. We shall see. It's very difficult for me to sit here and make a prediction because it is highly possible that Bitcoin has already reached the end of this rally and needs to have a correction. So as much as I'd like to say that I think Bitcoin is about to break above $24,000 and just go on a tear, and total market capitalization is about to add $100 billion. I would love to say that. And there's a part of me that wants to say that right now just because the market is looking so bullish, and we do have this news coming out soon. But then there's also that part of me that's saying, but Jebb, wait a minute. FTX is still in bankruptcy. Wait a minute, Jebb, Genesis, that has barely hit the market yet. What happens if Grayscale goes bankrupt? Jebb, what happens if Barry Silbert goes to jail for fraud? What happens if DCG implodes upon itself? What happens if CoinDesk has to be sold off from the DCG empire? What happens if the market reacts in a sell the news kind of way to the CME futures? The effective federal funds rate coming out at 25 basis points. What happens if we're not able to get Ethereum rallying enough because it's lost so much of its TVL and the activity on the chain has gone down through the bear market and it just can't get above $1,700, which is where it really needs to get above? Those are kind of the nagging questions in my mind right now, and I think it's the nagging question in your mind and in many other people's mind is that, yeah, Bitcoin just... Gosh, I just want to get behind it right now. Man, I really want to... Just every part of me wants to say, yes, we're bullish. But there's just something that's nagging that's saying, are you sure? And that's a healthy thing. That's intuition. That's your instinct. If you're having that tugging on you, you're like, I think that the bull market is potentially around the corner, but I'm just not ready yet to call it. That's intuition and that's wisdom. So what I would encourage you guys to do here is something that many of you are going to hate for me to say because you want answers, and I want answers too. I'm going to tell you a couple of very basic things. I want you to have patience. I want you to set yourself up in a position where if you do believe that there's going to be a trade, then sure. I'm not your financial advisor. This is not financial advice. Please make your own decisions. But if you think that the market's going to break in one way or the other, or you just think it's going to break out, but you don't know which direction it's going to break, and you don't really have a lot of confidence in either direction based on what you're seeing from the technicals, the macro, the fundamental, the on-chain, whatever, then what you can do, and again, this is an option. This is not me telling you what to do. I'm not your financial advisor. You can set up a trade so that whether it breaks to the upside or to the downside, you're already in the position to take advantage of that through setting up a kind of a limit order on an exchange where you basically, hey, the market triggers a certain price level. Boom, you enter your trade, got your stop loss set up. Then you can set that up on some exchanges, or you can do it on 2 different exchanges or 2 different accounts or whatever, where if it goes up, then triggers the long. If it goes down, triggers the short. What I will say is that Bitcoin has thoroughly confirmed that it's in an uptrend. If it does go down, we're likely looking at a corrective movement. I'd be really surprised to see Bitcoin just flash crash down to like $14,000 and make fresh lows. If Bitcoin does correct, I could see it correcting down to about $21,600, maybe down to around $20,000, but it would likely hold and bounce and rally and set new local highs. The question is just, are we going to have a big correction now, or are we just going to keep rallying and not see a correction? I cannot tell you with confidence that it's going to do that because the fact of the matter is Bitcoin needs to have corrections. As of yet, it has not had one. And that gets people very excited. That gives a lot of enthusiasm in the space. But that can be a bad thing if you're making your trades based off of emotion rather than based off of logic. Okay, so let's go ahead and read some chat. Really appreciate all 517 of you guys for tuning in. Let's go ahead and hit the like button if you haven't already. Really appreciate all of you guys for hitting the like button here. There we go. I hit the like button too, so that I'm part of it. Normally don't hit the like button on my own stream, but I did today just so that I'd be putting my like where my mouth is, I suppose I should say. Queen said bullish 25 basis points. That's right. I do believe that we will see that. Flat Smack said, probably in response to someone else, don't buy a Ledger from anybody but Ledger. Oh, Terrell Moody says, a good idea to buy Ledger from Best Buy. No. Buy Ledger from Ledger themselves. And that's not even because I have a Ledger or I've done business with them in the past. I think we might even have a Ledger affiliate link in the description. I'd have to check. But that's not even because of that. That's just because the fact of the matter is, if you're buying it from, how about that? We actually do have a link to ledger.com, but it's not Best Buy, it's Ledger. That's our affiliate link if you want to buy there. The reason that we say to buy from Ledger is because if somebody else has opened that ledger, or let's say that they returned it and the Best Buy didn't know the policy, they don't know cryptocurrency well enough and they allowed them to return it and they opened it and they took down the private keys, then somebody could drain your ledger because they had already activated the thing. You need to make sure that it has been sealed and has not been opened since it left ledger's possession. Very important. Probably not, but there's always that chance. That's right. It's probably not something that's going to happen, but you never do know. This break literally means nothing. That's kind of what I'm getting at. We need to see what's going to happen first. Ginger Financials. Good morning, Jebb and his family and everyone in chat. Hello, good morning. Yes, your daughter, lol, God bless. Thank you, Gregory Lettner. Ada, sorry, but not that many users or good apps. I wish it was not so. I think we just have to see what Cardano is going to do and how well its adoption is going to take place next bull market. That's where I think things are going to take place. Verify your ledger. Your wallet will have to verify. That's right. Good morning, Jebb and family. Busy Monday. I have to rewatch this one. What's up, Shadrach Frost? Hello and welcome to chat. Adam Rorick in chat. Also, shout out to you, my friend. Let's see here. All right. So, we can go ahead and talk a little bit about the kind of the broad macro side of things also. I just want to kind of remind you guys a little bit about what's going on in the world. So right now, there's been a little bit of an update on the Russia-Ukrainian front. Russia actually just announced this morning that they are going to be having in all of their secondary schools and colleges mandatory basic military training. So things like salutes, how to throw a hand grenade, how to use a certain kind of firearm. I'll just leave it at that. I don't want to get censored by YouTube for the words I'm saying, but essentially everyone in secondary school, so I believe what they're talking about is like high school and on into college, are going to be going through basic military processes to learn how to do these things. This has been something that the Russians have not done in 30 years. This was stopped in 1993 after the collapse of the Soviet Union, and it took a year or two for things to change a little bit in the newly created Russian Federation. But this is something that the Russians have not seen in 30 years. So many of the parents of these kids that are 15, 16 right now, they went through this when they were in school, when they were under the Soviet Union. These kids have grown up in a highly westernized democracy called the Russian Federation, so they're not exactly used to this. This is probably going to cause some uproar in their own land. The one thing is that they're leaning very heavily on nationalism right now. The Russian Federation is leaning very heavily on, hey, look, the Ukrainians are crazy. I mean, everybody's got their own sin, so I'm not going to sit here and the allegations they're making against Ukraine mostly are complete nonsense. They're saying that the Ukrainians are crazy and we have to fight for our own survival. So that's the nationalism that the Ruskies are pushing right now. And so you'll see how that goes with the unity of their nation, but they do have a very large unity problem. The Russian Federation has almost collapsed in on itself multiple times as a result of the Chechen crisis, as a result of different local politicians wanting to have more control over their own area, their own territory, if you will. There are different tribal groups in the Siberian region that want more autonomy. Russia is at risk of completely pulling itself apart from a ethno-demographic standpoint if they're not careful. So what Putin is doing, the same thing that the Soviets and even the czars had done for many years, was they leaned on this idea of national identity. And so if Putin is able to convince his population that the Ukrainians are crazy and that they are the evil ones, then he has a fighting chance based on authoritarianism and, one of his teachers, Marx, that if you turn everybody against someone else, then they will turn together no matter how bad their living situation gets because they have a common enemy. And so that's what Russia is trying to do right now. And through doing that, they are also, of course, preparing for a spring offensive against the Ukrainians. The Ukrainians have been greenlit many different heavy armor, many different kinds of heavy armor. The Poles are sending them 14 battle tanks. They're sending them 60 other tanks, largely PT-91 and T-72 variant tanks. The Germans are likely going to send them hundreds of tanks, many of them being Leopard 2s and even some older Leopard 1s. The United Kingdom has already sent them 14 Challenger, or already pledged to send them 14 Challenger 2 tanks. And also you're looking at the Ukrainians are now saying, we want not MiGs. We want F-16 fighting Falcons. They are trying to get F-16 platforms, and frankly, it might take a few months for them to get the F-16s that they're looking for, but them getting armor was a harder thing than getting the F-16, because them getting armor was something that, first of all, this armor is much more advanced than many of these F-16s. F-16s is a very old platform at this point. And also, the other thing is Leopard 2s are basically only in the possession of NATO and European Union members. The F-16, a United States jet fighter aircraft, has been exported to over 50 different nations, including nations that could be overrun by their enemies, such as Israel, before. It's very likely, in my opinion, that you could see them getting F-16s before the spring offensive, but they're obviously going to have to push a lot for it. And if they do, then that means that they would likely, if they can find the pilots for it, which that's normally one of the big constraints of an Air Force, is not just having the jets, it's having the pilots, because you normally don't have a lot of those. If they can find the pilots and train up enough pilots to be in the F-16s, they could actually end up dominating the skies, because the F-16 is a very, very capable platform. So again, some of you guys asked the reason why I talk about geopolitics. The reason is that one of the things that we do on this channel is we look at crypto, we look at the macro, we look at the financial market, we look at the Fed, we look at inflation, we look at demography, we look at supply chain mechanics, we look at geopolitics from time to time, because all of these things are interwoven. If you are trying to understand where crypto is going and you don't understand where the world is going, that's a bit like saying, I've got a little RC car and I've got it parked on top of a moving train, and I would like to know where this RC car is going. Relative to the moving train, maybe it's just moving in circles. Relative to the ground, it's moving at 100 miles an hour in that direction. You have to understand where the train is moving that the little RC car is on top of. Crypto is the RC car. The train is geopolitics. You have to understand where the world is going to have any kind of reference point for where crypto is going. That's why there is no real absolute measure of speed. If you're measuring the velocity of something, you're always measuring the velocity of something in relation to something else. It's virtually impossible to actually figure out how fast anything celestially is going, because what are you going to measure it against? How fast is the Earth moving? Well, you have to measure it against the sun. How fast is the sun moving? Well, you have to measure it against the galactic core. Okay, well, how fast the Milky Way galaxy going? What do you measure it against? A bunch of other galaxies? That's the problem. You have to have a reference point. On Earth, we take advantage for that. We take that for granted, is what I'm trying to say, because we just measure everything against the ground. But ultimately, if you're driving a car 60 miles an hour, you're not going 60 miles an hour. You're going 50,000 miles an hour through space. You just are going 60 miles an hour against the planet. So in the same way, if we understand where crypto is going against the world, that's wonderful. But you also need to know where the world is going for you to have really any actual understanding of where crypto is going, because otherwise you're going to get blindsided. And I don't want that for you. Okay, so let's go ahead and read some chat here before we wrap it out. Really appreciate all of you guys tuning in. As I said, right now we're on a knife's edge. We're really just waiting to see whether or not Bitcoin can hold above 23, whether or not total can hold above 1 trillion. And ultimately, I would like to see the market break to the upside here, but it really is a wait and see. I think the entire market is sitting here holding its breath. Are we going to see the 25 basis point rate hike? And then how are we going to end up seeing the market respond to that? So that's what we're paying attention to now. All right, and that announcement for the EFFR, the effective federal funds rate, will come out on Wednesday, February the 1st. All right. All right. Let's see. Good morning. It's 3:50 p.m. Greetings from Ireland. Go Cardano. Yep. Morning in Florida. I guess it's not in Ireland. Let's see here. Man, it's been a while. Hello, Flare Staking. Hello, my friend. All right. The debt market is the driver of the stock market. I watch the debt market. Yeah, you really got to pay a lot of attention to the debt market. You ask somebody, hey, are you going to invest in this company? It's $31 trillion in debt. It has about $4 trillion. It has about $3 trillion of revenue, spends $5 trillion a year, and it's responsible for almost every single other nation on the planet. When you invest in that company, it's called the United States. So we have to keep that in mind as well, that the United States is the... Here's another example of what I'm talking about. The United States economy is the frame of reference upon which we understand the rest of the world. If you're trying to understand the European Union, you reference it against what the United States is doing. If you're trying to understand Bitcoin, you reference it against what the United States is doing. If you're trying to understand China, you reference it against what the United States is doing. If you are trying to understand Russia, you reference it against what the United States is doing. You want to know how I can tell you that so confidently? Because we measure their GDP in the US dollar. So the only reason that the United States is able to maintain this ridiculous method of printing a $1 trillion platinum coin every couple of years to raise the debt ceiling, or raising the debt ceiling, or taking on this big of a budgetary deficit, the only reason is because we are the frame of reference upon which everybody else operates. Because we are the world reserve currency and because we are the most powerful military and the most powerful economy. Those three things, most powerful economy, most powerful military, most powerful currency, those three things allow us to basically end up going back and doing whatever we want. That's kind of what I'm talking about with this. In a similar way, that the rest of the world is framed against what the U.S. economy is doing economically, Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency markets are framed on the backdrop of what the rest of the world, and especially what crypto is doing. Thomas Post in chat said, checking in, been a minute. What's up, Thomas Post? Good to see you. SpongeBob SquarePants said velocity equals a vector expression of the displacement that an object or particle undergoes with respect to time while also having a frame of reference. That's where special relativity comes in, is that if you are moving but you have no reference, then you can't actually prove that you are moving. If you're moving in a box through space and you have no way of knowing that you're moving in relevance to anything else, if you're within that box, you have absolutely no way within the laws of physics to prove that that box that you're in is moving. It could be moving at 99% the speed of light, and you would have no way of proving it because you have no frame of reference. That's the full definition of velocity. You have to have a frame of reference. That's an implied thing because it's implied. I mean, that's what obviously, that's a basic factor of the way the universe works. But if you don't have a frame of reference, you can't actually understand the velocity of anything because you don't know what it's moving against. That's why if you are in orbit in astrophysics and rocket science, whenever you're in orbit, it's called orbital velocity. Why? Because you are talking about the reference of whatever celestial object you're orbiting around. So if you're orbiting around the moon, you're in orbital velocity around Luna. If you're orbiting around the sun, you're in orbital velocity around the sun. If you're around the Earth, you're in orbital velocity around the Earth. And you're measuring the speed with which you are covering ground on the object that you're orbiting around. It's orbital velocity. It's the velocity in relevance to whatever you are orbiting. Crypto orbits the global economy. So we have to understand that and how that works for us to understand the relevance. All right. That's why wingsuits aren't as impressive unless you're next to a mountain. Exactly. That's exactly what I'm trying to get at. Jebb is super intelligent. I definitely would not say that, but I appreciate the compliment. Robert Casanova said salivate metal. Excuse me, it might not be platinum. They do make it out of different things. Talks about $1 trillion coin on his channel. Yes, if you don't know what that is, essentially, Congress will ask the feds from time to time to print a $1 trillion coin so that they can increase the amount of money that the government can spend so that they can raise the debt ceiling because we're... what's the word? Hemorrhaging money out of the national deficit every single year. Atomic time is based on quantum physics, speed of light, universal time. Yes, time is something that you can reference against. Velocity is a different thing because it's an extrapolation of time and space. Space and time are fundamentals. Velocity is a change in both of them, so you need a reference point of time and space to calculate velocity. It's the same thing with crypto. You need a reference point. When did this event happen? What backdrop did it happen upon? Geopolitics, Russian-Ukrainian war, pandemic, I almost said the word that we shall not say, etc. You need that backing. All right, I'm going to have to go ahead and go. I really appreciate all of you guys for tuning in. If you have not already, make sure to sign up for Lux Algo, hit the subscribe button, hit that post notification bell, drop a 1 in chat to show Cryptopher that you love him. Shout out to Cryptopher for tuning in here towards the end. And thank you guys so very much for tuning in. I am really looking forward to bringing you guys more content. As I said, especially when our daughter gets here, things are going to be, we have a plan for what the content's going to look like, but things are going to look a little bit different for a little while. But we're going to end up having, we're going to end up bringing you guys content, because I really want to help you guys to learn more about the cryptocurrency market so that you can take your next step towards financial sovereignty. Really appreciate all of you guys for tuning in. And before I go, I do just first want to thank each and every single last one of you for watching, as always. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.